Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be speaking about a very important topic, which is fertile window. If you're trying to conceive woman or you're a young lady out there who is planning to learn a lot about their body, you want to sit down and watch this video till the end, because fertile window is the only time in your cycle that you can ever get pregnant. Apart from fertile window in your cycle, pregnancy is no longer possible in that particular cycle. So let's get into it. If you're seeing me for the first time, I'm a medical radiographer, an OBGYN sonographer, and also a fertility coach. If I ask you whether you know how to identify when you're fertile in your cycle, the best time to get pregnant, can you be able to do that? Or will you just tell me, oh, I am going to calculate my ovulation? Growing up, my understanding about getting pregnant is that once I have a sexual intercourse with a man, I will automatically get pregnant. My understanding about ovulation at that time was also very much limited because I was reading to pass exams. Not until recently I started reading and researching, and I also studied further to become a fertility coach that I learned so much more about the fertile window and how it actually works. What is fertile window? Like I said earlier, the fertile window is the only time you have in your cycle to get pregnant. Anything apart from the fertile window, pregnancy is no longer possible. The idea behind fertile window is considering how long the male sperm can last inside of a woman's body and how long the egg that is released during ovulation can last before it disintegrates. While I was in school, we were taught that the sperm can last 2 to 3 days, but recently research has said no, it can actually last up to 5 days. That was my daughter. And we also know that the egg that the woman releases during ovulation has a lifespan of 24 hours. So if you put together the 5 days sperm can last inside of a female reproductive system, and the 24 hours, which is the time the egg released during ovulation can stay, then you see that the fertile window is 6 days in total. However, I love to tell people who work with me to make it 7 days in total. And the reason is because if there is any change or if there is any mistake, one more day is going to accommodate for a lot more. Are you one of those people who always think that you can only get pregnant during ovulation? This topic might be coming to you as a shock or as a surprise, because now you are knowing that apart from ovulation, there are other days that you can actually get pregnant. So what is the relationship between ovulation and fertile window? I am going to be explaining that in details. Ovulation on its own is the process of release of follicle from your ovary. So every month you are going to grow follicles. Out of the follicles you grow on a monthly, only one of them becomes the dominant follicle. This follicle is usually released from your ovary 14 days before your next period starts. For some people, it can happen 10 to 16 days before their next period starts. Once you ovulate, you are on a clock. Within 24 hours, the egg is no longer viable. That means if you are relying only on ovulation, you are going to be so focused on those 24 hours, especially if you're trying to conceive. However, if you have the proper understanding about your fertile window, you will not be so tensed about your ovulation day. Remember, the sperm can survive for 5 days. So 5 days before your ovulation, that is when your fertile window commences, and it continues until the egg disintegrates, which is 24 hours after ovulation happens. So your fertile window is the time surrounding your ovulation from 5 days before your ovulation happens until 24 hours later. For those who are trying to get pregnant, you don't want to miss this particular time frame, because if you do, you need to wait for the next cycle to try again. And for those who are trying not to get pregnant, you have to avoid this particular time in your cycle so much, because if you meet your partner within this time, your chance of getting pregnant is very high. So how do you identify your fertile window? Most people will know how to calculate their ovulation, but identifying their fertile window, it is very difficult for a lot of people. So these are 5 ways you can actually identify when you are fertile. One is the use of calendar or calculation method. There are a lot of apps out there that can help you to know when you are fertile. These apps has been programmed in such a way that they will tell you when you are possibly going to ovulate and also tell you your possible fertile window. But there are limitations to this because majority of us don't have constant cycle. So dates can change from month to month, and that is why it is necessary for you to learn other methods of knowing when you're fertile, like ovulation test strip, tracking your fertile window using ultrasound, and you can also do basal body temperature tracking. These methods put together improves your likelihood of knowing exactly when you're fertile in a cycle. What are some signs that you are in your fertile window? Everybody is not going to have the exact same signs, and some people might not even have signs at all. But these are few signs that can be indicative of you being in your fertile window. Number one is change in the consistency of your cervical mucus. Your cervical mucus is a body's one-way language that helps a lot of us to know when we are fertile and also when we are not fertile. Seeing clear, stretchy cervical mucus is an indication that you have reached peak of your fertility. So when you are monitoring your cervical mucus, you can know when you have entered your fertile window. Number two is an increase in body temperature. Some people might notice this when they are fertile. Number three, change in smell sensitivity. Now, during the time in your cycle when you smell things from distance, or you think that your deodorant is not working, sis, your deodorant is working. You are simply in your fertile window. And this is actually a body's way of telling you that this is the best time for you to get pregnant. Other symptoms are things like having the urge to have sexual intercourse with your partner. Also notice things like mood swings. Some people will have acne on their face, and some people could have tenderness of their breasts. When you are noticing some of this in your cycle, it could be an indication that you are in your fertile window. Now you know about your fertile window. There are certain mistakes that a lot of people make when they are trying to monitor their fertile window. Number one mistake is using calculation to judge when they are fertile. If you don't have a constant cycle or your cycle length is not a clockwork, using calculation might not be so beneficial to you because your fertile window might happen at a different time than you were expecting it to. Number two is focusing on only ovulation day. You have 6 days in total. Why are you focusing only on the day of ovulation? Next time you are trying to know when you are fertile, avoid those two mistakes. For those who are trying to get pregnant, you want to take absolute control of your fertile window to be able to achieve pregnancy. What this means is that you really don't need to meet your partner every single time for you to get pregnant, as long as both of you are meeting each other during your fertile window. Start having intercourse with your partner at least 5 days before your ovulation. Continue until at least 24 hours after your ovulation. If you have watched this video to this point, it means you love what I am doing here and you also enjoy the topic. And I hope that you've learned something today. I am still your Wongo Nation president, and I will see you all again in my next video. Bye.